Like, how are you feeling first and foremost?
Without like deep diving too much, I'm doing better. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination,
Right.
but yeah, you know, I got a lot of support around me. Just staying out of the public eye has been very good for me at this stage, and just focusing on finishing up work, and I'm getting ready to walk away from the industry temporarily to do some traveling without like revealing my route too much, but I have this insane route, like literally circumnavigating the world, planned out, so I'll be leaving for that later this year.
That's awesome. Places you've never been before, I'm assuming?
All of them, yeah. And I've been lucky to do a fair amount of traveling, but this one's on my own time, no business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So obviously, let's start with Steven Universe because we're here at AwesomeCon. I mean, season 5 wrapped up, earlier this year, and I know obviously Rebecca Sugar had planned for 5 seasons, and I know it's not really announced like what's coming next besides this movie, but just reflecting back on that journey, like obviously that, like I said, that's what she's planned for the show, or what she had originally planned for the show. Just like, what does it mean? Like, what does it feel like now to be done with that original arc, whether there is more to come or not?
And there's a certain degree of closure there. It really felt like we were, coming to this incredible climax and coming to a head on everything. But really, like with the movie coming out and the things following this arc are honestly the things that are most important to me about the show, to be honest. Without diving too much into it, there's a lot on the horizon that I can't really say much about, but is by far the most important part of the show for me that we've done so far, as far as personal meaning goes. And the arcs of my life and Steven's life have they become one at this point, in so many ways, and it's I can't even really tell the story until about 2 years from now. I think once this is all
Actually done
in the books, yeah. There's something really special going on right now, and it caught me by surprise, and I shouldn't be running my mouth about this, but it's something very special and personal to me regarding the show. So yeah.
That's awesome. And kind of going off that, I guess, though, like, obviously people tell you, I'm sure all the time, like, how much Steven Universe has impacted their lives, how much it means to them. Like, what does that mean to you to hear that?
Obviously, it's an amazing thing to be a part of something that's not just entertainment, but is impactful and culturally important.
Right.
I'll always have that.
Right.
Some shows are just a job. This is much more than that.
Yeah.
And also, it's cathartic in the sense that even when times were difficult and I was working on the show, and it was like taking not the show necessarily, but like everything in my life was taking everything out of me. It's like all that meant something. All that served a purpose, because it wasn't just cathartic for me, it was cathartic for a million people.
Right.
That kind of thing, that I don't take lightly anymore. I never will again.
Right. I know you said you're obviously going to take some time off from the business and take kind of a break from it, but when you do choose to go back to the business at some point, do you have a bucket list of roles, or at least type of roles, whether it be in voice or on screen, that you'd like to play at some point or do at some point?
Not right now.
Yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, I'm so I really don't want to get my hopes up for anything in particular, because that's a recipe for disaster in the entertainment industry.
Right.
Planning on anything in the entertainment industry, unless you're like making your own project and trying to make it happen, which I was doing, and I intend to do again at some point.
Right.
I'd really like to get my sketch project moving again. I shot like half of a pilot for a sketch comedy show.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that the last time we talked, that was like in the works or something.
Still have all the footage. Won the legal battle. Haven't done anything with it since. That was a whole disaster. I'll talk about it in a tell-all in 10 years. I still believe in the concept and would like to get that off the ground again, but I was playing a characterized version of myself. It's the Zach Callison show, and watching Zach Callison self-destruct in real time, like while hosting a comedy show.
Right.
So I really believe in that. We'll get back to that eventually. So that's the only thing. I want to continue to work on shows, but when I come back, I want to get back to making my own content. I just haven't physically been able to over the past year since I finished the tour and the album.
Right. Yeah, well, speaking of the album, like I said, the last time we talked, War had just come out, so obviously since then the album came out. I'm just curious, like, what was the reception like to that?
Gargantuan.
Yeah.
I'm almost upset with myself because I can't follow it up right now.
Right.
I feel like I'm gonna like murder my own momentum or something. Which, you know, that's the nature of
the industry. Yeah.
It was very cathartic for me because that album like saved me from my first like undoing, and it was a very stressful process getting it off the ground. But like the tour, performing the record live in front of hundreds of people for 2 weeks. It was the best 2 weeks of my year last year, and very like surrounded by a lot of other very dark things. And coming off of that high was like I never really like got back up.
Right.
So I intend to return to that at some point as well, but it's just not the time.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of the tour, was that the first time? I mean, obviously you come to cons and do things like that, but is that the first time you've done something like that for your music?
Yeah, I mean, that was, I had done 2 live shows before. I did an album release show in LA, and then I played Anime Expo, and another convention in LA called ALA. But touring with Nate, that was like the first like real like rock and roll shit that we did for the album. And it was good. It was good. I know there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
It also took a lot out of me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, do you have a favorite track from A Personal Hollywood Heartbreak? I mean, I know it's a concept album, so it's kind of hard because it all flows into each other, but do you have a favorite track from it?
War and Curtain Call, for sure. They're both very different. Nightmare's up there too, honestly.
I think Nightmare's my favorite.
Yeah, that's like the cult following one on the record.
Yeah.
Curtain Call's just weird. Writing songs with like weird diminished chords and like crazy electronic warbler noises was fun.
I didn't get that one until like I listened to it all the way through, and then I was like, oh, like I get it.
It's very much like a set piece song. Like it sets out to accomplish a goal in the narrative, and musically it's a little harder to follow. It's not like an easy listening song at all. Releasing it as a single was probably a boneheaded move. My publicist made sure I knew that. So.
Yeah, and so I know you said you're obviously like sitting on your music for a while, but do you have plans to release the music eventually at some point, or like it's gonna come out at some point?
Way better than anything on the album.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it different, like genre-wise, or it's still kind of like the rap and the musical theater inspired? Yeah. Okay.
It definitely we put like a sitar on one of the songs.
That's awesome.
One of them, or 2 of them that I was working on, are 2 songs that we played on tour. That some people know from that, and there's some videos out there on YouTube. One of them is like done, and then some of them are just in different stages of being complete. One of them I wrote like a month, like while I was in the studio as we were working on it. That's the one with the sitar. Yeah,
that's awesome. So my last question: our website's called Talk Nerdy with Us. What's something you're currently nerding out about?
Oh, great.
There's so many things I can pick. My St. Louis Cardinals are kicking ass right now, so I'm nerding out about that. It's not really like traditional nerddom, but...
Is it funny? That's the same thing you said last time we talked.
Is it? Yeah.
Baseball, yeah.
Yeah, it's always baseball. It's
always
the season
baseball.
just started and they don't suck this year, so...
Hey, gotta stay with somewhere.
Yeah.